Hello and hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. How you guys doing? Welcome to my presentation on the realities of the social safety net between Germany and the United States. Actually, this is not my slideshow, but I will be reacting to it. Sounds interesting to me. Let's see. All right, healthcare spending per capita, $12,555 in the United States per capita every year. Wow. So how much is it in Germany? Germany spends about $7,383 per person for universal access. Isn't that kind of just unbelievable? The free market not exactly working as intended here. You know, like, isn't the idea with the free market that it's supposed to drive costs down from competition? Not exactly working. Probably because when your arm is ripped off and you're bleeding out and you have 10 minutes to live, you're not comparing the prices at the different hospitals. Paid parental leave, the 14-month standard. Now, is that just for women, or does that include men? I've read a lot of posts actually on this subject on Reddit, like anecdotes about this, and from what I've read, some men don't take like any leave in Germany, from what I understand, which is exactly how it is here in America. I guess I should confirm that. I should look that up. Germany provides up to 14 months of paid leave at 65% of salary. Okay, that is an important point. 65% of salary, not the full salary. In contrast, the USA has zero weeks of mandated paid parental leave. Realistically, most women, if you have like a job that is worth a damn, and I don't mean to insult people, you know, like that are working. I mean, it's very sad for the people who are working at Walmart, you know, like the women that are working at Walmart or some place like that, where not only are they paying you a bad wage, they're not even giving you any paid time off when you have a baby. You know, it's just a nightmare. But if you have like a job that treats you like a human being, then they will give you 3 months of leave. I believe it is something like 65% of salary typically is what it would be. Now, there is something called FMLA here in America, which very graciously gives women the right to 3 months of unpaid parental leave. Isn't that an incredible right that these women have here in America? The right to be not paid for 3 months while they raise their newborn baby. Incredible, very progressive law here in America, the FMLA. But at least there's that. They can't force you to leave, meaning they can't fire you, basically, is all that means. If you have a baby and you have to take care of it for 3 months, they can't fire you. Yeah, anyway. Actually, okay, wait, let me look up paternity leave real quick in Germany. Fathers are entitled to up to 3 years of unpaid parental leave per child. What does that mean? 3 years? This is like the FMLA in America, but it's 3 years. You could literally go away for 3 years and come back to your job and be like, all right, I'm back. You have a long white beard at that point. They're like, who are you? Like, I've been raising my child. He's now fully grown, married. I'm a grandpa now. He has his own kids. So I'm ready to come back to my job. Okay? Put me on the schedule. I barely even understand what that means. What does it mean you get 3 years? Who would do that? But I mean, that's very interesting. And it goes up to the 8th birthday? Oh, so it looks like they're working on adding a 10-day mandatory paid leave for the second parent, usually the father. So that's interesting. But the fathers, they can take up to 3 years and have their job legally protected. And which we were just talking about. That's wild. But you can also work part-time up to 32 hours during that period if you want to. A lot of fathers take 2 months off because I guess I guess they are entitled to some part of that El Elterngeld, that federally funded paid family leave. Okay, I think I was wrong. It is not at all like America. It looks like German dads do indeed take paternity leave. A lot of dads here in America, they will basically sacrifice what little vacation days they do have for the year, which is usually like 2 weeks. That's pretty standard. So they'll use their 2 week vacation as paternity leave, and then they get no vacation for the rest of the year. I'm not gonna lie, all the paternity stuff information I'm reading is actually pretty confusing. There's quite a lot of different aspects to it. But from what I do see, it looks a lot more inclusive than what we get here in America, which is, I mean, a lot of dads get zero. Okay, a lot of dads just get zero. That's the standard. Like I said, a lot of them will use vacation days if they have them. You know, a lot of them might not even have very many vacation days left in the year, depending on when the baby is born. Anyway, average public university tuition. Germany just down here at 0. United States, 10,940. One slightly interesting thing you might not know, you probably wouldn't know because there's no reason you would know this, is that in the United States, if you attend a university in your state in which you reside, then the tuition is half as much typically. If you want to attend a university, which a lot of people do, like a lot of people attend a university outside their state, right? It's going to cost you a pretty penny. It usually doubles the cost of the university, which is already expensive. I assume this is taking that into account. 10,940. It's interesting, like, when it says average, I guess, I don't know if this is the median or the mean, but this is actually, like, not that bad. Like, a lot of larger universities are much more than that. And so it's interesting that that's the average, probably because there are a lot of community colleges and stuff that are way cheaper than, like, other options. So that probably brings this average down a lot. Minimum paid vacation. Germany legally mandates a minimum of 20 days. The standard is 30. So you just go above and beyond the minimum, which is already higher, way higher than America. I mean, the minimum here in America is 0. But the standard is 14. The standard is 30 in Germany. Yeah, the U.S. is the only advanced economy with 0 days of mandatory paid time off. Damn. I will say that even if you work a job, because as much as I am fully, and you know this, I'm fully willing to critique America on this type of stuff, but pretty much any job, including even working at Walmart, you will accrue vacation days. You don't just get 0 vacation days at like any job I've ever heard of, including Walmart. I worked at Walmart. No, you won't accrue very many. I mean, what it is you get like an hour of vacation for every whatever, 20 hours that you work. And that's how they add it up, So after like a year, they're like, congrats, you have 5 days of vacation. It's usually about 2 weeks, even at Walmart. Monthly child support. $250 per month. Oh my God. You just get this? Regardless of income level? Wait, what? The child tax credit. That's true. We do have that. It'd be a lot nicer. It would feel a lot nicer just to get money deposited into your account or a check sent in the mail every month. That would feel a lot nicer than a tax credit, which is kind of like intangible, You're just like, yay, I paid a little bit less money this year. Let's see what the child tax credit is. So families can receive up to, it's a little confusing, but they can receive up to $1,700 per child as a refund, even if they owe no taxes. So in that way, it is really just kind of like being paid a stipend. you're getting that grant essentially, $1,700. So what is that, like 100 some dollars a month? I mean, it is something. I think pretty much everybody would prefer to get it like monthly, which looks to be how you guys do it. And 250 euros. That's obviously over double. Let's see what the exchange rate is right now. Euros to US dollars. So that's like $300, 300 US dollars. Yeah, so that's like bordering on, it's not triple, but it's 2.5 times, more. Which I love this type of stuff, especially if we want people to be having more babies. Having babies right now is very, very expensive, and people are strapped for cash. And in this economy, it's hard to have babies, but we need babies for all sorts of reasons, including, to keep, just to keep Social Security working, to be able to have the resources to take care of our elderly. We need more people. A lot of baby boomers. I guess maybe we can use robots, right? Guys, how dystopian is that? Your mom will be taken care of by a robot. A cold, hard robot. Unemployment duration. Oh, okay, this is interesting. Germany typically provides benefits for 12 months and even longer for older workers at 60 to 67% of net income. And in the USA, it's 26 weeks, which is how many months? Like 6, 7? Oh my God, did I just do that stupid meme? But, I'm not gonna lie, I think this is reasonable. 26 weeks, unemployment. You have 6, 7, I need to stop saying that. Months to sit on your butt and find a job, I mean, I'm surprised we get that, to be honest. And I think that's good. I think that's fair. I think that's cool. 12 months, I guess the more the merrier, except at a certain point, it's actually not the more the merrier. You know what I mean? Because people need to get back to work, not just be taking unemployment. Man, during COVID, this shit was crazy. I'm not like people get upset when you say, that some people take advantage of the welfare systems. I don't know why people get upset about just facts. Like, obviously, some people are going to take advantage of that stuff. And what I'm saying is, I knew personally some people who were just like, why would I go back to work? Like, no, I'm not looking for a job. I'm talking to my unemployed friend. They're like, no, I'm not looking for a job. The unemployment right now is like tripled. I'm being paid more being unemployed than I was at my job. Why would I be looking for a job? Anyway. Pension replacement rate. I don't even know what that means. Retirement security. Germany's net replacement rate is approximately 53%, while the U.S. Social Security system replaced about 39% of the average worker's earnings. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. It's actually not that huge of a discrepancy. Once again, of course, Germany is in just all these different dimensions. So far, Germany's social safety net is just stronger, more robust than America's, in all these different ways. But it's not that big of a way, but it is just another way in which the social safety net is stronger. So German pensioners get paid a bit more. Well, actually, I said that, but then I'm like, I mean, it really depends on maybe nominally they actually don't get paid more. It might actually be more so like similar depending on the median, or the average salary. If the average salary in the United States was higher than in Germany, which it is, then these percentages look like they might actually work out to be like similar, like the pensioners actually get about the same. But, it still does mean that the U.S. senior citizen is going to have to, adjust to having a more significant reduction in their earnings. Now, of course, most people, well, I don't know about most, but the idea is that you're not entirely relying on Social Security. Hopefully you have some retirement saved up, a 401k or whatever, stuff like that. Some kind of retirement. Personal bankruptcy discharge. A lot of them, by the way, have their frickin' house. These people, I mean, the old people in America a lot of them are very wealthy just because of their house. Which, I mean, granted, that's not exactly liquid cash that they can spend, but they can borrow against it, and they can, if they ever do need, a lot of them are very much able to downsize, sell their $800,000 house that they bought for $100,000 or $150,000, in 1975. And, that's quite a lot of money. But that will not always be the case. I don't think that I will have that incredible privilege. Maybe I will. I don't know. Maybe my house will be worth $5 million. And a McDouble will be $45. Jesus, this is going on a while, guys. I hope somebody's still listening. I'm finding this quite interesting. Personal bankruptcy discharge. Ooh, okay, bankruptcy. This is one aspect in which America is quite friendly. Bankruptcy. Typically, I mean, that's, okay, let's see. Typical duration, 4 to 6 months. Germany, 3 years. And in this case, duration, I think that's a bad thing. Like, you don't want I think this is the process, the duration of the process. So you want this to be short. Core philosophy, the fresh start, as opposed to Germany, creditor repayment. It was interesting, huh? It's interesting because this really is, in America, it is the one thing, and I have to be proud of this for a moment, I guess, because at least we have this. In America, you do have bankruptcy, and it's always like there as a safety net to take a risk, especially when starting a business. You can take a risk, and that if shit goes totally south, you can declare bankruptcy, and, it doesn't look good on your credit and stuff, but you're not liable personally for, the losses of your business. You're able to write those off and have a fresh start. Well, for the most part, it depends how you take the loans out, of course. It's not necessarily that simple. It's not like you could just start a business and get $1 million loan and then just be like, I'm declaring bankruptcy and be off the hook. No. Of course, you will probably have to personally sign for that loan, in which case you're going to have to declare personal bankruptcy, which means your credit's going to be hugely affected, and other things, and you're going to have to liquidate a bunch of your assets. Anyway, regardless, it is a way in which you can get a fresh start, relatively fresh start, albeit a little bit tarnished. Your credit's going to be tarnished. Asset retention varies by state exemptions. Strict living allowance. Okay. This isn't very tangible, I'm not going to lie. Like, the only thing tangible here, quantified, is the typical duration. Okay, I looked it up, and yes, typical duration means the time the process takes from filing to completion. So in America, it's way quicker. So that's a good thing. Yay! That's one! That's one for America! We're number one, meaning 1 out of 10. Housing security philosophy. Germany's strong renters' rights. Indefinite contracts and rent increase caps are the norm. USA market-driven housing. Higher mobility, but significantly higher eviction rates. I mean, significantly higher eviction rates. I don't know exactly what to make of that, guys. I feel like I might be offensive if I speak on this too much, but in my experience, you only get evicted if you're like a total scumbag. Okay? Like, not getting evicted is not. Of course, there's exceptions, and I'm sure, you know, there's total dirtbag landlords out there that will evict people totally wrongfully and stuff, and that's obviously totally wrong. But 90% of the time, it just means you're not paying your rent. Yeah, I don't know what to say about this. I mean, renters' rights is, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. And I mean, in America, you actually do have. I happen to know. I have some anecdotal experience with knowing people who rent houses, and they have to trust me. The amount of rights the renter has can actually be quite unfair. Meaning, they can basically not pay, and then you can't, and then you have to continue to house them and provide them like these amenities that are required by law for like 30 days while they are just not paying rent. And you're required to do that as you, the lender, lose money. Of course, now that's the flip side. You know, nobody really cares about, oh, poor landlord. But sometimes it can be that way. Indeed. It can be that way. That's the flip side of the coin. You know, most people, at the end of the day, most people are not landlords. Most people are renters in the equation. So most people sympathize more with the renters. And indeed, yeah, the renters can be taken advantage of. Anyway, the bottom line. The bottom line, guys. What is the bottom line? Germany prioritizes a universal floor of security. The USA prioritizes individual upward mobility and private solutions. Okay. Wow, that's a very, like, unbiased take, I feel like. That's like, well, sometimes things are unbiased and sometimes things are just said to be like, you know, this is like this and this is good, you know? It's equal. Which can be a fallacy. You know, that can be a fallacy. Like, obviously, the safety net in Germany is better. Duh. But, of course, it does need to be paid for, you know, with real resources. Anyway, thank you for exploring these critical systemic differences. Thank you, Slideshow. Thank you. And thank you. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.